Today, the world's economies are linked in many ways. In the United States, for example, many employers turn to migrants to do low-wage work. Each year, the Temporary Worker Visa Program allows thousands of migrants, mostly from Mexico, to travel legally to the U.S. for seasonal work on farms and in fisheries, in construction and landscaping, and other similar industries. To get a temporary worker visa, a migrant has to have a job lined up. But how does someone in a remote Mexican village find an American business with permission from the U.S. government to hire temporary migrant workers? That's where recruiters come in, creating a labor supply chain. In theory, recruiters provide a service to migrants and employers, bringing them together so both benefit. But the reality for many migrants is brutal. Recruiters, acting on behalf of employers, frequently take advantage of workers, lying about harsh job and living conditions while demanding bribes in exchange for precious visas. Workers often begin their jobs under a mountain of debt and the threat of losing their homes, or worse, if they don't pay up. But they don't dare complain for fear of being fired, deported, blacklisted for future work, and having no way to pay off their debt. While workers lose out, recruiters line their pockets, and employers are happy to have a supply of workers who are too afraid to speak up, no matter how poorly they are treated. Technically, U.S. law prohibits these coercive practices and says a company can be held responsible for its recruiters' violations. Yet this is almost impossible to enforce because businesses are let off the hook if they don't know about the abuses. That creates an incentive to look the other way. And it's not just employers. Brand name and big box stores also profit from recruiter abuse. They pay less for products when their suppliers use temporary migrant workers who are afraid to stand up for fair treatment and pay. And while retailers increasingly are adopting codes of conduct that require fair treatment of workers and ban abuses by suppliers, they rarely know the full truth about what's happening in fields and factories. But what can be done? That's where Radar comes in. Radar is a first-of-its-kind tool that uses existing technology in a new way to put a stop to recruitment abuse in labor supply chains. It begins when migrants who experience abusive recruitment are able to report it confidentially to organizations they trust without fear of retribution. This information is added to the database, which traces the connections up the supply chain to employers and the brands they supply. Then, the project notifies the relevant employers and brands and suggests ethical and legal recruitment alternatives. It's all pretty straightforward, but the impact is huge. Businesses that hear from Radar can no longer claim ignorance about recruitment violations, making it possible for the U.S. government and public interest advocates to hold employers accountable under existing laws. Meanwhile, brands and retailers learn about worker abuses that previously were hidden, encouraging them to take action to keep their practices in line with public promises. The result? A powerful incentive for ethical recruitment from the top down. Radar is designed to motivate employers and make it as easy as possible for them to comply with the law, revealing abuses and simultaneously offering solutions. Best of all, the technology is low cost and easy to expand and sustain wherever recruitment abuse exists. It's a small investment that can help end one of the most widespread injustices in the U.S. temporary migrant worker program, and eventually in others like it around the world.